And this is why and how OCD has guided me through my life. Every single thing that I've done regarding any of the main pillars of life, right? The bigger pillars of health, relationships, and wealth, those are the main ones. But then there's other sub pillars. Every time I've moved in the direction and gained momentum in the right direction, my OCD has gotten better or it's gotten worse. And that is why my OCD has been my guide. But more importantly, health. It's always about health first and foremost, and the rest can come later. Hello, my OCD travelers. I hope you're doing well today. Hopefully, OCD has been kind. It's never kind. What am I talking about? I hope the OCD has not been as bad. Hope you're having a good day, or as good as it can be. I really want to talk about a transitionary period because I am a very strong advocate for priming the nervous system before approaching ERP. All right, exposure and response prevention. So exposing yourself to the fears, exposing yourself to the triggers, and not doing your compulsions. To anyone with true OCD right now, you just quivered a little bit, like that. But that is ERP in a nutshell. And whether in this lifetime or the next, sometimes it feels like that. To get through OCD, that is like the final boss, so to speak. And so all of us OCD travelers need to go through it. And it's not just like walking through a door, right? I really feel like OCD has you in this room. And this is why, I built a brand and course called OCD Unlocked, because this is literally the way that I visualized it in the past. And it has helped me tremendously just through this visual, because I really feel like, oh man, if so much of our cognitive resource wasn't really stolen or taken away by OCD, we would be like, I really truly believe that all those with OCD have such amazing, enormous creative potential, but it is being used by and sapped, just the life being drained out by OCD. Let me prove it to you, right? The pull wouldn't be so strong if the internal turmoil wasn't so vivid. It wasn't so real. That's how creative you are. Unfortunately, as much as I talk about OCD as another entity, it is you. But that creativity comes from you. OCD uses your resources, your cognitive horsepower. So the transitionary period, or where you're going from what I'm an advocate for, priming the nervous system using a framework called harmony, which is ultimately, a beautiful term for what we are trying to achieve with the nervous system. Harmony. All right? It's not about extremes. We're not going too far. We're not trying to overdo things, because that's going to have the adverse effects as well. We're trying to come to the most calm state, not too relaxed that you don't give a shit about life. I really don't think that's possible with people that have OCD, because our nervous systems just seem to be just hyperactive, overstimulated, and just on high alert all the time. It's no wonder that OCD just creates problems when there probably are none. The question is, when do you know when you're ready to approach ERP? Now, look, You've technically been doing ERP as long as you can remember, because I'm sure that anyone with true OCD does not want the OCD, so you know what you need to do, technically. You know that you have to face these exposures and triggers that are mostly irrational, especially compared to the rational life that you want to live, or the more rational life that you want to live. So when do you decide to actually step into today's the day? You start taking bigger steps in exposing yourself to the triggers, because trust me, it does calm down. It does. Look, I'm not a psychologist, therapist, not a professional when it comes to taking people through ERP. I know about it. I've been to just all kinds of therapists, so many psychiatrists, psychologists, even plant therapists, as in mushrooms and all kinds of psychedelics. Now, I'd highly advise going through ERP with a professional if you really feel like you're making good progress and you have a good understanding about it and you're already on the way, but you just feel like you need a bit more of an edge. Maybe look into what you're doing with your health and lifestyle, because that could literally be the key. All right? In the analogy of why I call my course and brand OCD Unlocked, because the key is the framework that you use, pretty much all to do with your health, that is going to unlock the lock, which is the nervous system. The lock being locked if your nervous system is just ramped up and on hitting the limiter way too much. So we need to calm that down, because otherwise walking through the door is ERP, right? And it's not like you're walking through the door just once. The door could be heavy. It's going to take a long time to open. And the scariest thing about going through the door, you don't know what's on the other side. OCD is telling you what's on the other side to scare the fuck out of you. That's the idea behind OCD. It makes it all terrifying. But when you go out, it's not like you're gone forever. It's not like you walk through the door once. Right? You expose yourself to those potential fears. The OCD creates and manifests all these fears to terrify the shit out of you. But you go out there, you face those fears, you slay them by not doing the compulsions, and then when you're ready, when you're done, all right, you come back in. You come back into that room that OCD has created for you, that has been getting smaller and smaller each and every time you get stuck in a loop. And that loop is not a circle, by the way. It is a spiral, and it keeps getting smaller and smaller the more you feed into it and the more you give into those compulsions, allowing it to get stronger, allowing it to make it feel like it's crushing you and getting that room smaller and smaller. So priming the nervous system to calm down through the framework, which is the key. The nervous system is the lock. Now, you mostly get it right? Shimmying that key, it might be jammed a little bit, but it just opens, right? And you slowly work with the OCD to help it guide you on knowing. You'll essentially know, and this is the transitionary period. When do I unlock the lock and walk through the door to really go through a lot of exposure and response prevention? When is that phase? There's this beautiful scene out of the new Spider-Man, the animation by Sony, and Miles asks, when will I know that I'm ready? And the response is, you won't. It's just a leap of faith. And I really feel like that rings so true for OCD, because you really don't know what's going to happen. Sometimes the thoughts and what OCD spins is so irrational. Speaking about the multiverse, it really feels like, but it could come true in another dimension. And just that pull alone, somehow OCD makes it feel so real and relevant that you just want to give into the compulsion. That's how strong it is. It's just so wacky, so wacky. But I really feel like that scene was just a beautiful portrayal, and I really feel like that's that transitionary period. There is a stage though. You need to be aware of this, and I really feel like this is what makes priming the nervous system so crucial. Because when your nervous system is, hitting the limiter, so to speak, and like that engine of yours just revving, and you try to go through exposure and response, this is why a lot of people, if they're not ready, they probably know they're not ready deep down, and they're just like, ERP, I know what it means, I get the framework, but that clearly is a sign that you're not ready and the nervous system is just peaking. But there will come a stage where, and this is why and how OCD has guided me through my life, every single thing that I've done regarding any of the main pillars of life, right? The bigger pillars of health, relationships, and wealth, those are the main ones. But then there's other sub pillars. Every time I've moved in the direction and gained momentum in the right direction, my OCD has gotten better or it's gotten worse. And that is why my OCD has been my guide. Like, what good is money if you're going to die tomorrow? What good is another relationship if you feel like shit all the time, you have mood swings because you're not looking after your body, right? Your body is the nervous system. Your mind is the nervous system. They are both intertwined. You can't have one without the other. And I think we can deal with the mind all we want, but if we don't address the body, well, it's gonna get pissed off. It is going to have a rebuttal. And so I think it is extremely dangerous, and I really think that it can be dangerous to go through not only ARP when you're not ready, but sometimes when you feel so good and you try to just take that leap of faith, because I get it, like some days you just get so sick of it, you're like, you know what, I'm just not going to do compulsions today. You just want to say like, OCD, f*** you, all right? Like, I'm done. I've been there, and you and I both know, never works. Never goes down. That's like, man, you've just challenged the beast. And so you doing your compulsions throughout the day is kind of like OCD, just giving you a quick slap. Each compulsion, slap. Another compulsion, slap. But then you just decide, you know what, like, you, I'm done. I'm so sick of this. Like, I am not doing this anymore. And then you go through like an hour of no compulsions, if you even get that long. 5 minutes, let's say. Let's just start there. 5 minutes, and like you start getting edgy, you start almost like doing other shit because your body just can't handle the amount of emotion and tension that is being built up. Half an hour goes by. Yeah, stuff can start getting real crazy. And then an hour. Now, this is why and how it gets dangerous, and where just stopping straight up never works and is quite dangerous. Your OCD could go from that slap to just an absolute fucking KO. I'm telling you. It just, the amount of pressure that it builds up, the story that it conjures up, and it just fucking hits you like a ton of bricks. I remember watching a YouTuber one time just made that action and that sound to describe her OCD when she tried to delay it. I was in tears laughing. A part of it was probably crying and sadness too. But it was so beautifully and brilliantly articulated. Yeah, so maybe don't do that. Prime the nervous system. But again, I also wanted to just say there is a transitionary period. When do you know? You don't. Again, it's really where having support helps. There are so many steps you can take before ERP. It seems like a massive step. Just the idea behind it. It's no wonder that so many people with OCD don't want to take that step. They know it, they get it, they're like that. There is so much you can do before it. Again, priming, getting ready, I think is so important. And I really think it's a massive piece of the puzzle that is missing to OCD treatment. Because if you just jump straight to ERP, it is sometimes that unbearable. It's no wonder medication is prescribed. But now you're being sedated so much you feel like a zombie. Of course it's gonna work. You don't give about anything, or at least that's what I felt. And like the dose is very important, so obviously like you need a professional to be able to do that. But look, if you go to a therapist, you get medication, it would be unfortunate if you didn't like do more for your health and wellness, because I think that is a massive key component. And honestly, I really feel like everyone's bodies are trying to communicate to them through signaling. Like, how does your body communicate to you? Like, you need to stop eating this, do this better, we need to be more hydrated. Like, that's why your body's being stressed. But with OCD, like, your body is like your nervous system is on such high alert already. Us as OCD travelers, we can't do those things. All right, we're already hitting the limiter, and now we've found like, you know, new RPM that's not even on the dial anymore. That's what happens to us if we like step out of line. So I really think we need to address that priming, the health component of it. And look, you're probably already doing so much for your health. Like, I almost think that's a no-brainer. You've incidentally found ways to make your OCD better, and it's most likely to do with health. I bet we can all agree on that. But I think it could also be done better. And as much as it sucks to probably hear that, OCD requires not just greatness, but it requires excellence. And I really feel like that's where the component comes in, where I speak about OCD being just the most brutal accountability coach. Just relentless. So again, if you are taking those steps and you have that leap of faith, just like Miles in Spider-Man, you're really going to know, because your OCD is going to get better or worse. But as you're going through the treatment, yeah, you'll get a sense. Health, like looking after my health and just getting better and better and better with that, it's almost making ERP a natural consequence. It's almost like I feel a lot less stress, so I'm able to just address that trigger right now. Like, oh, like I usually have to, like, I pause for like a whole minute to do my compulsion, and now I can just do my compulsion once. That's progress. I also want to point out just a quick note before I finish. A note on progress is you need to be aware, because OCD doesn't want you to think you're progressing, right? Progress can come in so many different forms, variations, and colors. You need to make sure that you understand how much progress you've made. And this is another key factor to why it is so important to get support, have people around you, because you just could say something you've done, something you're doing in life that might seem like it's completely irrelevant to OCD, and the person might actually see that from their lens, because they're looking at your life from outside of your life, right? Sometimes it's so hard to see what's going on with you, and they might say like, you wouldn't have done that like, 6 months ago. You're like, you're right. Okay, your compulsions might actually stay the same, but here's what really can confuse a lot of people, and confused me in the past, and really made me feel like I wasn't making any progress, is the stress eased up, my compulsions went down, I felt better, I took on more stress, more compulsions, but technically in my life I was doing a lot more. That's technically progress, even though the compulsions came back. Alright, so if I was still to follow that exact same equation, hopefully eventually, like, my life just gets so good, and hopefully, it doesn't always stay the same, but it'll eventually get better. I really doubt if you improved your life so much that your compulsions, your stress, everything didn't go down. I really feel like there is so much to say about how OCD uses our biggest fears and our biggest hopes and dreams, our goals. Why is it usually always based around something that we care about? It's because it knows that is a trigger, that is something to use as leverage. So if you were optimizing in all those areas to make even the worst outcome be okay, I really feel like you'd be in a place to be more accepting of whatever happened, or at the very least, become a person better equipped, more able to handle that worst case scenario. God forbid it ever come true. But I don't know about you, I would feel much better off being the person I want to become in general, even if some of that thanks, or most of that thanks, went to my OCD from just pushing me, hammering me, being relentless as an accountability coach. I would rather that than being so stuck in my compulsions, not following rational action to get further in life, and being stuck in the same place, same financial position, same relationships, if anything, going backwards, but just stuck with my compulsions. That's all I have left. That, all right? Allow OCD to be your guide. Sometimes it's really hard to hear, but it really can be. But you just need to be as relentless as it with your life goals. Really take as much of the irrational crap. You need to fight fire with fire sometimes, but take as much of the irrational crap from OCD and just take the next best, next rational thing and do that. Obviously, this is going to change from subtype to subtype. Let me know what yours is, and if you have any questions, let me know. If you want some support and you want to check out the course I'm creating or have created, depending on when you watch this video, check out ocdunlock.com. I hope to see you in there. See you in the next video.